What would you do if you knew the secret of my strength?
Bind you.
Why?
So you could never leave me?
All on your guard, Samson.
I've betrayed him. He would not hear me.
Are you not stronger than 100 men? You cannot carry away the gates of Gaza again. You cannot kill a lion now. You're weak as any other man.
I pray thee, strengthen me, O God. Strengthen me only this once.
What's he doing? He's holding up the temple.
Samson to his knees beneath the feet of Dagon.
This is better than I had bargained for.
Well, the man's crazed.
Oh, John, he's the funniest clown I've ever seen.
This man has the strength of the devil.
No, the strength of a god. My eyes have seen thy glory, O God. Now let me die with my enemies.
Proverbs chapter 31 verse 3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Sirach chapter 23 verse 5. Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence, and thou shalt hold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an imputed mind. Sirach chapter 25 verse 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. HALAL, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. BARAK, Brakatham to the elect and the 1/3 of the children of Israel. Double honors to the teachers and the head apostles of the great millstone who will well. Peace and salutations to the Archim who are pushing out this work with truth and sincerity. Also, Barakatah to the Akwafim who are listening as well. My name is Brother Daniela from the Prophets of Babylon, Tampa Bay, Florida. And today's class will be the story of Samson, the wickedness of a woman. This is a story that I recommend for y'all to read, especially the men who are in this truth. Alright? The story of Samson is in the book of Judges chapter 13 all the way to chapter 16. Alright? It's a very short story, powerful story. Right? For the men of the Lord. To not be swayed with these women in these last days, man. Okay? And it's a great lesson to not not to fall into the snares and traps of these women. All right, many people warned you, and throughout the whole Bible, to stay away from wicked women. All right, you know, the story of King Ahab and Jezebel. You know, Jezebel was his wife. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you get the Jezebel spirit today. A woman with an imputed mind, a ill will woman. All right, and a lot of these women have an imputed mind. All right, very prideful. Women here have absolute liberty. All right, no hate speech, but it's only the truth. Okay, even the prophet Jeremiah said that a woman shall compass a man. All right, women having better jobs, women are ruling over men, and men becoming effeminate, and women becoming masculine. All right, men stumbling upon a woman's beauty, which is nothing wrong, but to the point, if it urges you to sin, then that's when it gets serious. All right, and you must get yourself out of that snare. All right, it is impossible for a woman to break down a spiritual man, so you must be in the spirit and walk in the spirit. Okay. So the reason why I mentioned the story of Samson, you know, Samson was sent by the Lord. Okay, he is from the tribe of Dan. All right, which that tribe was discontinued later on in the Bible. All right, so Samson was a Danite who was sent, who was born to take out all the Philistines. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, because the story is very important, man. Like for the true man of the Lord to hold his masculinity, all right, to hold his integrity, that's what makes you a man. Okay, you must hold the integrity. You must not be swayed to and fro with these women, man, because that's one of Satan's tools. All right, is the woman, because in 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7, it mentions that women, or your wife, is the weaker vessel. According to scripture, women are the weaker vessel. They're more vulnerable to things here in this world. They're vulnerable. All right, they get easily deceived by many things. They're mainly followers, which is the truth. They're mainly followers. All right, they're easily deceived. Okay, that's why there's so many error within the society, because the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, in Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He allowed these women to have the utmost liberty. So that's why women dressing the way they dress. They have these, you know, feminist groups. You know what I'm saying? Women are becoming more masculine. All right. The list goes on, man, and it's getting worse day by day. Okay. Sooner or later, the Lord's gonna shut that down very soon. All right. With these plagues that's about to come to Babylon the Great, which is United States of America. America is going to receive ultimate judgment very soon. But let's get back to the topic. All right, let's get to the point of the story. All right, so this is the story of Samson. I'm gonna get straight to the point. This is the book of Judges, chapter 13, verse 1. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of YAHAWAH, and YAHAWAH delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. And the Philistines are the so-called Africans today, who are the progenitor of the dark race, and they're not the Negroes. They're not the so-called black man or Negro, but they are the lineage of Noah, of the three sons. There was Shem, Japheth, and Ham, and the Africans are from the lineage of Ham. Okay, so they are not Shemitic. They're Hamitic. All right, they're from Ham. which are today's Africans. Okay, and a so-called Negro is not an African. Okay, we may have dark skin, but we are not the same people. All right, and they'll tell you that. Okay, if you go to Africa, not the West Coast, but if you go to the other part of the regions, they'll let you know that they're not the same people as us. Straight up. Okay, continuing, verse 2. And there was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold, now thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive, and bear a son. Okay, so before she was having trouble with having a baby, but now she's able to conceive. All right, because the angel of the Lord appeared unto her and allowed it. Okay, so verse 4, and this was the instruction. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite unto Yahweh from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Okay, so the angel was giving Samson's mother instruction, so not to take strong drink or any or eat any unclean thing. All right, and that was the directions to make him who he is. Okay, then verse 6, then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of the Most High came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of the Most High, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told he me his name. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to the Most High from the womb to the day of his death. Okay, so a Nazarite wasn't allowed to cut his hair. So as Samson grew, he had very long hair. All right, and he had 7 locks in his hair. Now I don't know what his hair like the 7 locks represent, but it's spiritual. 7 means completion. Okay, so the scriptures are very deep. And the Lord, he's a very mysterious power. Okay, so let's get straight to the point. Okay, so I'm skipping to Judges chapter 16. All right, and before I grab that, so Judges chapter 16 is when he met this woman in Sarek named Delilah. All right, and one great thing about Samson, besides his strength and whatnot, he was only attracted to very beautiful women. So he never wanted women with a poor countenance. He always loved women in a very beautiful countenance. Okay, good looks. You know what I'm saying? He never settled for less. So every time you see another woman, he was drawn with his lust, of course, because of the beauty of the woman. But this is what Sirach chapter 25 verse says. Verse 20, Sirach chapter 25 verse 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. So that was the downfall of Samson. He always stumbled he always stumbled at the beauty of a woman. Every single time he's seen a beautiful woman, so that was his weakness, was women. All right, and the main thing that like the elders and apostles always mention is the number one thing that when the brother falls out the truth, the reason why he falls out from the truth is what? A woman. All right, if you hear any story of a brother falling out the truth, it's mainly a woman or some sort of affliction, you know, or they were never rooted in the first place. But the main reason is women. All right, let's get to it. This is the book of Judges, chapter 16, verse 1. Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her. And it was told that the Gazites said, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. So, you know, the Samson main mission was to kill all the Philistines, because they were in captivity by the Philistines, okay, or the so-called Africans today. Okay, so his main mission was to slay all of them, but he was distracted by what? By beautiful women. Okay, so his main mission was to take out Philistines. Now he slayed many. You know, the part where he slayed 1,000 men with the jaw of a donkey. Okay, so he killed many men, but he was always distracted by beautiful women. So the Philistines know about Samson, all of them. So like all of them are like truly scared of him. Okay, and they wait for him to kill him, but they never come by themselves. They always have a large amount of groups to fight Samson, because they knew he was a mighty man of the Lord, and he wasn't a normal man. He was a man of full of omnipotent strength. Okay, and omnipotent mean unlimited power. So he had power from the throne of the Heavenly Father. Okay, verse 3. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city, and the 2 posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of the hill that is before Hebron. So Samson broke right through the doors while they were trying to kill him, and they were able to. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a very powerful dude. Verse 4. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. So the Philistines knew about Delilah meeting up with Samson. So they were like, hey, let's have a deal. You get to his head and find out his weakness. And once you find out his weakness, you know, we'll take him and we'll pay you. All right, with a lot of money. We're gonna pay you a lot of money once we find out what his weakness is, and then we will take him. Okay. And of course, like I said, the women are the weaker vessel. All right. Satan's number 1 tool is the woman. Okay. So women are vulnerable when it comes to these things, man. Okay, because they are the weaker vessel. Truth be told. All right. Verse 6. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. So right now she's trying him, find out his weakness, you know. And Samson, you know, he still has a little integrity within this chapter, but later on he loses it. So verse 7. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as another man. So right now he's finessing her, you know, playing around, you know, like beating around the bush. Verse 8. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green withs which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Verse 9, and there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the whips as a thread of tow is broken when it toucheth the fire. So his strength was not known. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. Alright? So every time she was vexing Samson, he got weaker. He started to like submit to her, you know. So verse 11, and he said unto her, if thou bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Alright, Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his and they break him, and they break them from off his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies, tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web. So pretty much, he's still finessing her, but he's getting weaker every time she's vexing him. All right. So he keeps telling her lies, you know, about his weakness. Okay. So let's get straight to the point. All right. So verse 16, and it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, there hath not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto the Most High from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. So he gave his strength unto the woman. All right, he gave his strength unto a woman, and now and now, you know, now she knows his weakness. So what's going to happen? Verse 18, and when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up this once, for he hath showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. Just like that. If a man has no integrity, he will fall for anything, especially these women. Okay, verse 20, and she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before and shake myself. So the other times that he was finessing her, you know, with the rope and the green whips, you know what I'm saying? He said, like, man, the same way I broke out of that, I'm gonna break out of this too. But this time it's not going to happen, because he gave his strength to the woman. So let me jump up to verse 20 again. And she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before and shake myself. And he wist not that YAHAWAH was departed from him. So he found out the Lord wasn't dealing with him anymore at that time. You know, that's scary, man. Verse 21, but the Philistines took him and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with the fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. So the Philistines took him, and what they did, they used a knife, a very hot knife, and they blinded him with with the knife. All right, so the brother's blind now. He was thrown into prison. Okay. Verse 22. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. Then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon their god, and to rejoice, for they said, Our God hath delivered Samson our enemy into our hand. And when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, Our God hath delivered into our hands of our enemy and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, Call for Samson, that he may make us sport. So they wanted entertainment from Samson to make fun of him. Okay, they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, Suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. And Samson called unto YAHAWAH and said, O Lord YAHAWAH, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, of the one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. And Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him, and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, and the burying place of Manoah his father, and he judged Israel 20 years. Okay, so Samson completed his task by slaying a lot of Philistines, you know. But the main thing was he was supposed to do that, but every man has a distraction, you know what I'm saying? Especially nowadays. But if he wasn't distracted, Samson would have glorified the Lord if he was focused on destroying all the Philistines for the children of Israel. Okay? But the Lord had another plan. Since he didn't want to listen, he had to die with the Philistines. And we don't want to be in that predicament. We want to glorify and please the Lord if he gave us such power. All right? In these last days, brethren of the elect 144,000 will receive spiritual powers, man. You know? And we must learn from the stories of the old, man. You know what I'm saying? Of the days of old. Of what our forefathers done, all the errors that they done. You know what I'm saying? So we won't repeat those errors, so we can please the Lord. And one of those errors was from the story Samson. You know? He was a very powerful, mighty man, but was distracted by beautiful women. He didn't know how to deal with them accordingly. Okay? Delilah ended up being a snare unto him. Okay? And King Solomon mentioned that in the book of Ecclesiastes. So let's grab that real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 25. I applied my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth the Most High shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. And Samson was taken by the beauty of a woman, which led to his death. All right, but end up taking his life with the Philistines. All right. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be in that predicament. Okay. You do not want to be in that predicament. And also, I also want to mention, First Ezra chapter 4. So let's get that. So verse 26. So First Ezra chapter 4 verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. Okay? So the point is, you know what I'm saying? Don't give your power to these women. Because there's been several stories, man, that great men of the Lord have fell for women, man. Ask for the Lord to help you abstain from concupiscence. And concupiscence means a strong sexual desire. Okay? Ask for the Lord for you to be delivered from concupiscence, which means strong sexual desire. Because once you abstain from that, you're gonna see how crazy you were when you were in that phase, all right, or in that days. You know what I'm saying? Because lust can get you killed. You can be lusting after someone else's wife and not even know it, and the Lord can put you to death for that. All right? They go hand in hand. Lust, adultery, and coveting. They all go hand in hand. So be careful, okay? Be careful, and ask the Lord to help you from abstain from all that foolishness, man. Here in Babylon. Okay, so I hope this lesson was very edifying. Call halal YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Till next time, I say shalom.